William Blake, yes, he is our poet for today. Blake is an extremely important romantic writer, and though he was not very famous during his lifetime as a poet, and he was not given his due during his lifetime, but after his death he was recognized as one of the most unique and original writers of the romantic age. He was born in 1757 and he died in 1827. So these dates are important because they indicate that he was there while these romantic ideas and romantic ideas were being formed. That is, he was there during the transition period and he witnessed the French Revolution. He was there around and he saw the impact of French Revolution, not just in France but around the world and particularly in England. And he embraced the romantic values, he embraced the romantic ideals and ideas of writing, and he lived through the major part of the romantic age. And he was a poet, as we have seen, as we have talked about it, and he was not very famous during his lifetime, not a very well known poet during his lifetime. And he was a painter and an engraver. Now, an engraver is a person who makes engravings on metal plates, and then those metal plates are used for printmaking. So he was a painter also, and as a painter he was more famous and he earned more reputation as a painter during his lifetime, and even today he is considered to be a very great painter. And then he was a visionary. Now when we say he was a visionary, then we have to remember that we are not using this term metaphorically or figuratively. He was a visionary, he would have visions, literally he would have visions. So when he was a very small boy, he would see a tree full of fairies and angels and full of light. So these kind of visions he had throughout his life. So he was a visionary. Now while we are talking about his painting, so here are some examples of William Blake's famous paintings. The painting in the middle is called The Great Red Dragon and the Woman Clothed in Sun. So we can see here a woman who is all yellow and a dragon hovering over her who is reddish in tinge. And the painting on the right hand side is an illustration of hell as it has been portrayed in Dante's Divine Comedy. And the painting on the left side, we can see that there are some fairies who are dancing here in the painting. So these are some examples of famous paintings by William Blake. Songs of Innocence. This book of poems by William Blake came out in 1789, and this is one of the most important and most famous book of poems written by William Blake, and apparently it is a book of children's songs. But when we give it a closer reading, we realize that the book it has a much deeper meaning and a much greater purpose than just a children's book. So the book is about normal natural things, but it is a commentary on the social and political conditions of his country during that time. The next book, which is very famous by William Blake, it is called Songs of Innocence and Experience. So it has some additional poems to Songs of Innocence, and this Songs of Experience part, these poems are much gloomier, darker, murkier than the poems included in Songs of Innocence, and he talks directly about his ideas. He does not portray them as children's songs, and then he does not do it obliquely, but he talks directly about his experiences and his ideas. So the poem London that we will be doing next is taken from this book, Songs of Innocence and Experience. And as you can see here, this picture on the left, it is the cover page of his book Songs of Innocence, and the painter and author is William Blake. So the book was illustrated by Blake himself. All the paintings that are there, they were made by William Blake himself, and of course the poems were also written by him. And the picture that you can see on the left, Songs of Experience, again the picture, the illustrations, the paintings that were there in the book, they were all handmade by William Blake himself, and the poems were also written by him. And then there are many other books that he wrote. So the Book of Thel, The Marriage of Heaven and Hell, Visions of the Daughters of Albion, Poetical Sketches, An Island in the Moon, The French Revolution. There are many other books that he wrote. But these two books, Songs of Innocence and Songs of Experience, they are the most famous books that he wrote. So this is William Blake, and now we will be doing the poem London by William Blake in the next video. Thank you.